Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch a bright, sunny Sunday here in the Ozarks, and it is going to be a hot one. We've already got an extreme heat warning out. We'll probably have one for every day for the next several days. So be watchful, be aware of that. Drink lots of water, fluids, some salt in your water, electrolytes. Take it easy. Don't overdo it. I've been busy this weekend already running 911 calls, some of it due to the heat, others for other things. But just be careful, folks. It's not something to just ignore. It comes on pretty quickly. And you may think that you're okay and you can handle it and you can work a little bit longer outside, stay on that mower a little bit longer, work in the garden a little bit longer, and then bam, it hits you. So take some breaks. If you don't have to be out in the hot sun in the hottest part of the day, don't, because it's going to be hot. And I know not everywhere it's going to be that hot, but a lot of places it's going to be hotter. So anyways, so the Obama cult is losing their mind over things that's starting to come to light, or at least some accusations that former President Obama may have been involved in a conspiracy to frame, Donald Trump and to at least disrupt his presidency, possibly keep him from getting elected. The whole Russiagate stuff. There's apparently some evidence indicating that there was some things involved. Now, the corruption on this is high. The MAGA crowd is saying, hey, this is what we've been telling you for years, that how corrupt Obama is. The conservatives too, Republicans. At the same time, the MAGA cult is losing their minds too, because there's more and more accusations coming out about Trump's relationship with Epstein and just how close it got, and things being published and videos coming out and pictures and all this kind of stuff, stories, people coming out of the woodwork and pointing out the corruption in the Trump White House. And of course, everyone is, there's a lot of people pointing out how it's corrupt now, trying to cover it up. And then I'm here in the middle saying, yeah, well, they're both corrupt. It's all corrupt, folks. It's all stinks, and they're all part of the same club. I mean, anyways, it's a big diversion. I mean, it has the makings of a civil war. I'm not saying that's where it's happened. That's where it's going. I know that's, oh goodness, you've jumped all the way to the Civil War. No, but I mean, imagine what the left would do if they actually arrested or attempted to arrest Barack Obama. I mean, there'd be some probably rioting in the streets. Could be some cities burned to the ground, basically. Hold on, I've got an eyelash in my eye, and it is driving me nuts, and I can't stop, or have to stop. Anyways, the right, if they tried to really push the thing with Epstein and try to really come out and say that there was a whole lot more to discredit Trump, maybe try to do another impeachment and all of this kind of stuff. I don't know that the MAGA crowd would necessarily riot and burn the streets down, but I wouldn't put it past them if it got bad enough. I mean, there's no telling what could happen on either side if the powers that be are, in the mindset that we just need a big disruption. We need some, chaos, and we need some divisiveness in this country right now. So who knows what will happen? But it's very, very much dominating the news cycle. I mean, that's just about all you can find on social media, is one side or the other. I guess for other things going on, Russia has rejected Trump's 50-day ultimatum. He said, I'm going to give you 50 days to come to peace talks, or else. And there's already been serious talk of letting Ukraine just take the gloves off and let them go crazy and attack Moscow. And St. Petersburg and anywhere else in Russia they can reach. But Russia said, no, we're not interested. We've taken 20% of Ukraine. We're going to take it all, I guess. I mean, I haven't heard him specifically say that, but that's also the rumors, is that they're going to take it all and maybe move into other areas. NATO seems to be very much gearing up for war, more so than ever before. And they have been for the last 3 years or so, but it seems to be an even bigger buildup. So, possibly a NATO versus Russia war could certainly happen. So that's what's going on there. When I see all this kind of stuff and the intensity and the distraction and all of this, I know and I say this often, but I just can't help it. I think it just needs to be said. It shows that the times that we're in, that we are in a very tumultuous, just disruptive time period. Very much, possibly so more than the 60s. And that's where everyone kind of defaults back to, of when the country was really bad, the race riots and the anti-war riots and all that kind of stuff going on. And maybe there's not as much rioting in the streets, and protests, but I mean, it's crazy. It's definitely crazy. And really, we need to be, each of us, praying for discernment so that we can see past some of this stuff. It doesn't mean it's all fake, but it's all out there trying to sway opinions and to disrupt things. And so we need to pray for discernment to get through this all, but also realize that if anything, it is a sign that things are worsening and that things are becoming more and more chaotic. I mean, it's can't be a coincidence that, just when everyone was starting to talk about how Trump was trying to hide the Epstein stuff and that his whole base started to turn against him and all this happening, and then all of a sudden, boom, guess what? We've got evidence that, Obama was involved in the Russiagate and all that, and it's the biggest thing. They tried to push the auto pen, and that didn't seem to really catch hold, but then this is big. Now everyone's calling, at least a lot of the conservative, social influencers are calling for Obama to be arrested. And and I'm not saying that he shouldn't. I'm not saying he didn't do anything wrong. They've all done stuff wrong. They're all criminals. They're all corrupt. But it's all being used to disrupt us, to disrupt the country, to distract us from the real evils that are working behind the scenes. And it's doing a good job of it. And we have to see past that and try not to get too caught up in it, because it's all about emotions for people. This idea that they could see Barack Obama being walked down, the sidewalk in handcuffs, or the idea that Trump would be removed from the White House and, taken to jail. And it gets people either extremely angry or extremely excited. And, my opinion is that all of them and more need to be locked away. We have to really be focusing on what really matters. The world is falling apart, and you can argue against that opinion all you want, but the economy, us and around the world's in shambles. The whole world's in like hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt. People can't afford anything anymore. They can't afford to buy a home, can't afford to live, pay their groceries, pay their light bills. The political scene is an obvious decay. There's constant wars and rumors of wars all over the place. The social makeup of our society is just collapsing, and man has turned his back on God in more ways than we can imagine, and just all kinds of evil things are on the rise and popularized, and every kind of immorality you can imagine and not imagine is becoming normalized. And so society is on a major downturn. And we're probably not going to fix that. I mean, you can vote, and maybe you can fix a little thing here or there, or be part of that, fixing it, but it's unlikely you're going to vote real change. You can get involved in local, community. That's a good thing to do. But really what we need to be doing is getting ourselves ready, getting our homes ready, getting our families and our friends and the people close around us, spending time together and building stronger bonds, and working on plans, and fixing and mending relationships, because as the times get crazier and more chaotic and stuff, it's going to put greater and greater strain on our close relationships. Your spouse, you and your wife, you and your husband, your children, the close people around you. It's going to get more difficult. And as evil spreads and the world becomes darker, that's going to put more strain on relationships, and that's what we need. Aside from our relationship with the Father, which we should also be constantly working on strengthening, is we need relationships with the people that are close around us that we can know and trust. And so we need to be working on that kind of stuff, because it's going to get harder and harder. Yes, we continue with the preparations. We continue with developing skills. We continue with becoming as self-sufficient as possible, possibly getting to a place, moving to a place that's, easier to be that way. But we also need to be just readying ourselves for a more chaotic world, a more evil world. Because it's not just that things are getting more evil, it's that what we considered the church and the gospel is becoming more and more watered down. It's harder to find true examples of those. And this is all part of the plan, folks. It's all scriptural. And so, yeah, I mean, was Obama a criminal and a corrupt thief and a liar and all? Yeah, sure he was. Is Trump the same thing? Probably so. You don't get into those kind of positions and have that kind of wealth and have those kinds of connections and not have a dark side. So don't put your trust and your hope in man. The Bible tells us that several times. We need to put our focus in God. Trust in Yeshua. And pray for discernment and pray for his guidance. Pray for that the Holy Spirit guides your life and influences your decisions, because you're going to need it. You need it anyways. But you're certainly going to need it more now than ever. It's time to get your houses in order and prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.